It's today's edition. Remember that we have the Hot Topic segment on Wednesdays from 2:30 right here on The Dish. My name is Ifunaya, and of course in the studio with me is Ayana.
Hello, Lagos.
Kel.
Hi.
And Ugoma.
Hello.
So we're going to be talking. Let's talk about baby.
Let's talk about multiple partners.
So we're
Talk
going
about doing the do.
Yeah, we're going to talk about, but we're going to keep it PG because it's still daytime radio, guys. So, now why? It has to be that way. Anyways, guys, based on anecdotal evidence and research, we found out that women have as many sexual partners as men. Now, based on this research, this is based on the research on do women cheat as much as men? Because a lot of times you get that conversation where people say things like, oh, women cheat more, but they're more discreet, or men are still the most cheats in relationships. And it's almost a back and forth and a tug of war with people saying, oh no, is it true, is it not true? Hence the reason why we're inspired to have this conversation today, talking about, okay, in a case where we know that men have multiple sexual partners, and we also know that women have multiple sexual partners. Is there really a difference between the two, especially in a society and in a community that frowns upon women being vocal about, their sexual escapades or their sexual prowess or sexual strengths? A lot of times you'd see that it's something that is either being kept as a secret, or it's not even being spoken about, but behind the scenes other things happen. And so really today's question is this: is there really a difference between a man having multiple sexual partners and a woman having multiple sexual partners? So ladies, for us to start off this conversation, I just want to get your take. I want to know where your head is at as regards multiple sexual partners. We're not talking if it's both men or women, or if it's, we're just talking in general. What is your take on someone having multiple sexual partners?
At the same time?
Yes.
It's just nasty. It's just plain nasty, to be honest. And if it's not even at the same time, if you're extremely sexually active with different people at different times, you need to first and foremost check yourself. It's important that, because the health implications are heavy.
Of course.
And I don't know why people just overlook things like that and just live for the moment or live for pleasure. Multiple sexual, it's just plain nasty. You're just a garden tool or farm tool. That's it. Whether male or female. That's what you are. True.
I'm more of the opinion of it's your life, do it as you will, but just make sure that you're being careful. And of course, you're being honest in your dealings. When I say honest, I'm talking about you're not lying to anybody on the basis of, oh, I like you or I love you or whatever, just to sleep with them. I'd just say be responsible, but that's your life.
Can I say, isn't that a lack of discipline, having multiple sexual partners?
I don't know. Some people see it as a form of, enjoying their whatever, indulging.
Soaring their royal oats.
Indulging in variety.
But before we carry on, Ugoma, what's your take on having multiple sexual partners?
You can basically do what you want to do. I'm not here to dictate to someone how they intend to live their life. I'm clearly against it because of variety of repercussions and the consequences that comes with that. But if you intend to do that, of course, you need to ensure that you are protecting yourself, because there's a very large room for contracting sexual diseases.
Yeah. Now, just speaking about that, because Kel, you did mention that, well, you know what, live your life, do what it is that you want, but be really careful. How careful can one be if they are engaging in sexual activities with multiple partners?
Who also have multiple partners?
Exactly.
First of all, the obvious one is use protection. Then get tested regularly, and in your being random, don't be so random. You know, basically, kind of don't say I met somebody today, tomorrow we are chopping it up. Basically kind of select, if I would use that word, select your partners with a bit of discretion and discernment. I don't know.
And, with cervical cancer, that's one of the causes, so to speak, even though they don't really know, the full extent. But having multiple sexual partners apparently can lead to cervical cancer, which has no cure.
Yeah.
So how careful can one be?
And there are other STIs.
Yes, yeah.
Herpes.
That basically
How about
remain, that basically stay permanent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, if you're listening, would like to get your take on, multiple sexual partners. What are your thoughts? Do you believe in it? Do you think it's okay if you're being careful, or is it a complete no-no for you? Now, just getting into the heart and the meat of this conversation today, a lot of times when we hear about women having multiple sexual partners, it's automatically seen as her being a farm tool, saying, you know what, you're for the streets. Let's put it that way. Saying that she's for the streets. Even if this woman is a single woman, but it's still frowned upon. However, if it's for a man, you hear things like, well, he's a single man. And what else do you expect? He's just being a man. So first, just taking a look at that in the first place, where in context of singleness, where they're single, but it's still frowned upon if the woman has sexual multiple partners. However, for the man, it's a normal thing because, he's single. What else do you expect? Do you think he would just carry on like that without, just playing around? So what are your thoughts about that, ladies?
Patriarchy is simple. That's why they would tell you the woman is the receptacle. How about the thing puncturing the receptacle? Doesn't that have some
Thing
kind of
puncturing the receptacle.
That's what they tell you. But basically, patriarchy, has put women in a certain box. And as far as they're concerned, look at, for example, let's go down the biblical route now. When the woman was caught, in the case of adultery, did you ever hear about the guy that was caught with her? Exactly.
Yo, true.
Stone her.
So, and I'm not sure how it would have panned out if it was Paul that she met as opposed to Jesus Christ, because I'm not sure she'd be alive if she had met Saul and now Paul. As opposed to
But you know what? I mean, this is not about religious studies, because if you get to read more of the books that Paul wrote, you realize that Paul is actually a very sweet guy. If you go through
before he became a sweet guy.
Before he became a sweet guy.
Yeah, when he was still Saul.
When he was Saul.
So,
In the verse.
society already puts us as the delicate one, the fragile one, the weak one, the one who should not be seen to do basically every other thing, well, besides just be a mom or a wife or, this, and then, of course, once she slips out of that mode, once it's not the norm or what they expect, the woman gets a label as opposed to the guy.
And I hate it because it takes two to tango.
Of course, that's why
If you roll in the dirt with a pig, both of you are dirty. There's no differentiation. So it's just, I like you said, patriarchy.
Okay, what are your thoughts about that?
I do agree with Ayana and Kel. I think that we downplay, again, the consequences of having multiple sexual partners. And if you also look at the fact that no gender is impervious of sexual diseases, I think that then we now realize that, both parties can get affected in many ways and in some ways. But at the end of the day, you make that decision, because I also believe that, both men and women can decide to be promiscuous as well as being monogamous. You make that decision. So I think that it's unfair and also an excuse to say that, it's only men that can. And the evidence are there. I mean, with regards to hearing people's stories of how a woman had multiple partners, even while she was married, even while she was single, even while she was in a relationship. So I think that these evidences prove that if a man can have multiple partners, if a man can be promiscuous, then a woman can be. It all depends on your decisions, your principles, where your principles come from from your Christianity or from just maybe your moral compass. So let's not try to say that, oh, men are excused. No, you're not
Yeah.
excused, because the same diseases are you're going to contract it.
Yeah. Now, just talking about, being monogamous or polygamous. Recently, I had a conversation, was my friend's birthday, beautiful set of people. And then we started talking about relationships. And, one of the people there, what her own standpoint was this, that it was the white man that lied to the African man that they could be or they should be monogamous. That naturally men are not monogamous. So just riding off of that, ladies, what are your thoughts? Because even when you have conversation with some men who probably have decided, I'm going to be faithful and loyal to even one woman, sometimes it's like they go through excruciating pain because of how difficult it is. A lot of times you hear things like it's the third leg that is talking, or our third brain, or that brain that is talking, or my brain is not talking and it's my, male parts that are talking. And so just with that, because just hearing conversation, because sometimes when we're even talking about it, men say things like, ladies, you can't really say because you're not a man, so you don't even know what we feel. So what are your thoughts about it being impossible for a man to be, well, should I say almost impossible for a man to be monogamous, and that men are not naturally monogamous?
It's absolute BS. And it was put together, I'm sure,
By a
whatever,
man.
by a man.
Yeah.
It's absolute BS. The same way you have feelings, sexual feelings towards others, or you get turned on. So for lack of a better word or lack of a better phrase to use, you think women are stoned? It's true. You think women are stoned?
They
You think
do.
women don't see men and get sexually attracted to these men? But you see, it's about discipline. And these people have gotten away with this premise for so long that it's now like urban legend. Men are monogamous. When God created man and woman, he didn't create
Man
Madam
and
women.
women.
3 women.
Yeah, and 10 women in the Garden of Eden, did he?
One and one.
But you know what? That's based on our own religious
I know.
standpoint.
That's why I said from the religious, from this angle. And at the end of the day, it's just a cop out, really. If you're gonna be nasty, if you're gonna be indisciplined, if you're gonna be chasing everything that wears a skirt or looks like a female, because some people it's anything they chase, anything that moves, As long as it's not of their gender, they're chasing it. It's an excuse, and I really detest when men say that.
Okay.
And then when aside from just testing it, a lot of these guys who talk like this look at also other various aspects of their lives when they say nonsense like this. There's really nothing to write home about them.
So ladies, what about this analogy that people usually give when it comes to, can women have multiple sexual partners and can men have multiple sexual partners? Saying things like, well, how do you see or how do you value a key, right, that could be used to open multiple doors, and a door or a lock that can be opened by multiple keys?
No, wait a minute.
So when there's a
Could
key,
you
there's a key
Like
that
a master key.
Which represents
there
that
you
can
go.
open every
So
door.
a master key can open every door, but a door lock that can be opened by every door.
See that analogy only.
So what are your
they
thoughts
only-
about that analogy?
Men only use that analogy because when people want to have intercourse, the woman unfortunately has to open up.
That's what I
her
said,
legs. That's the only way. That's the only reason why that
receptacle.
rubbish analogy comes into play from the mouth of useless people.
All right. Yeah.
In fact, Kel, you've just said it all. I feel like when we try to excuse certain behaviors, it's only normal for you to find analogy that encourages and
Thank
supports
you.
such behavior.
Of course.
If I want to steal, and maybe Ayana caught me stealing, I would try to convince her that I wasn't stealing. I'll try to look for something to cover up my behavior. But I think with regards to even looking at different, analogies or examples that would support such narrative or normalcy, is that we can also then look at it from a different perspective. Could it be that the reason why maybe men married multiple women or cheated with multiple, women, could it be that maybe, for example, it could be that women, I'm trying to tread carefully. Because like I did mention, I believe that both gender can make decisions for themselves.
Of course.
They can be monogamous and
Polygamous, yeah.
polygamous in nature. But I think that there are times when a woman will, for example, if we look at the Bible, there are a couple of reasons why, certain people like David, Abraham married multiple women. And the reasons was because, number one, of barrenness. Number two was security. And number three was, partnership with other, nation allegiances or alliances. And for example, for the barrenness, when maybe David or someone, Abraham rather, gets married to a woman and she's barren, what usually happens is they will marry another woman, right? And the other one was protection, because at the time, during the biblical times, there were a lot of wars happening at the time, and a lot of women and men were dying. So if you compare the number of men that existed at the time, it was disproportionate to the women
At the time,
and that's one of the reasons why men would marry multiple women, to give them the security so that they themselves wouldn't go about prostituting. That's one of the couple of reasons why that happened. So for me, I don't like such statement, because you're trying to excuse and give comfort to such misbehavior. If you want to cheat, by all means do it.
yeah.
And ensure that the partner that you're dating knows that this is what you're doing. But don't try to give an excuse to say that, oh, I'm cheating because I'm a man. A woman can also cheat if she decides to do so.
Yeah. All right, let's just take this. Lagos Talks, good afternoon. Lagos Talks, good afternoon. Who's speaking? All right, 0809-234-5913, 0809-222-0913, 0809-191-3913. On Twitter, it's at Lagos Talks 913 using the hashtag #TheDishLagos. Lagos Talks, good afternoon. Who's speaking, please?
Hello, good afternoon, ladies.
Good afternoon. Who's speaking?
This is Tunji
Hi, Tunji. Welcome.
from Cassava Island.
It's been a long time. How's it going?
Yeah, I'm giving all of you a plot of land here. You don't want to come and collect your CFO.
I'm sorry.
So what I see on the topic, for every promiscuous man, there's a promiscuous woman, because a man will not cheat by himself. So it's on both gender. So being a gender issue of being promiscuous, I feel it's out of the discourse. Whoever is not disciplined will be promiscuous. That is my take.
All right. Thank you very much. Lagos Talks. Good afternoon. Who's speaking, please?
Hey, Ify, how you doing?
I'm good. Hi, Ruth.
Ruth, it's been a while.
I know.
Yes, it has. Hi, ladies. Hi, Yana.
How's it going?
Hi, I'm good. Man, this topic is triggering me on a totally different level.
Okay.
What's going on social media. And shout out to you, Ayana, as in you just hit the nail on the head. I'm like, I'm a married woman. I have eyes. Are you trying to tell me that because of what exactly? If I see a guy that... See, somebody said something very succinct. Because you are married, that person is the perfect person for you. It doesn't mean that you don't have eyes outside. That applies to men, that applies to women. Now, for a man to tell me that because, it is predestined in his DNA stamp of approval, the way his life is meant to live, that means that he can decide to plug his key in every hole. Don't use this analogy. Just because of it is society that is holding women back. That's one. Two, if men actually knew the amount of women who were promiscuous, they probably never get married. Three, if a man were to cheat on a woman, he would say, "Oh, but my darling, I'm so sorry, take me back." If a woman was to cheat on a man, they would behave like their world has ended.
Yep,
and
very
they
true.
have no purpose as men.
Very true.
So are they trying to tell me that as they dish it, they can never be able to eat it and take it?
They can't.
Because at the end of the day, if you cannot dish what you cannot take, why do you dish it in the first place? Yeah? And then not do it and not say society allows you to. No, sir. You are the one that has decided that you have no discipline, you have no self-control, you have no ability to hold yourself accountable and responsible for the task that you have put yourself into, which is matrimony. It is simple.
All
So
right,
we
Ruth.
have then now be saddled as women to be able to hold on to the true
I'm telling you, she's on a roll. But we love to hear it.
I told you I was triggered.
We love to hear it. Ruth, thank you very much. We'll have to take more calls as well as read out some messages. Mazi Emeka on WhatsApp is saying, if a man has multiple sexual partners, it's immoral. But if the woman has multiple sexual partners, it's a taboo. I have a proverb to explain this. It goes like this. If lizard and rats go into the rain, when water dries from the lizard, it will not dry from the rats.
So women are rats and men are lizards. Why are we animals now? Are we not human beings?
We definitely are. But just to put a twist to it, because we are running out of time. But ladies, just taking a look at, this general mindset that women are more emotional than men. I remember there was a reference that Goma made one of the conversations that we had in the past where there was a research that said that women cheat for quality, men cheat for quantity. A lot of times we hear things like if women are cheating, it means that it is more emotional or there's more of an emotional attachment as opposed to a man, because you hear things like men can just cheat with anything that has a skirt. Any female that they see breathing, they could cheat with that. So do you think that plays any role in the disparity between how men having multiple sexual partners and women having multiple sexual partners is viewed? Because a man sees it as, well, so you're cheating, and not only are you cheating, physically and sexually, but it's also emotionally, because for a woman to go and have, multiple sexual partners or to even cheat in a relationship, there must be some sort of, emotional attachment.
I don't know who came up with that, because women can do the same thing, exactly the same thing, with no emotions attached, like men do. So I don't know who came up with that notion.
Yep.
Because especially for women who slip around for money, ain't no emotional attachment. I'm attached to that pocket. True.
Somebody once said, women, women cheat or sleep around just as much as men. The only difference is that women are more discreet about it, so to speak.
That I agree.
Men just go all willy-nilly and just, whatever. But women are more selective and they are more discreet.
How about you?
Yeah, I do agree. Yes, both parties can decide to cheat, but when it comes to the person that they are cheating with, there's a difference. Now, according to the research that I did read, and if it did mention, it says that both parties can actually cheat, but the only difference is a woman takes her time to know the person that she intends to cheat with. Whereas when it's a guy, he can just do whatever he wants to do. But I think the emphasis is the fact that both parties are cheating. That's the emphasis. The fact that the woman decides to know the partner that she's going to cheat doesn't negate the fact that she's cheating. So if we're saying that, can both parties cheat? Yes. But the way in which they cheat might be different. And so, if you look at other things, that's just how life is. Like, there are different ways in which both genders can actually, express themselves. But if we're talking about cheating, then at the end of the day, we know that both parties do cheat.
All right, let's take more calls. Lagos Talks. Good afternoon. Who's speaking, please?
Good afternoon, Miss Mutanda.
All right, welcome. Join the conversation, please.
Thank you. I want to tell you guys my own experience.
Okay.
I Temple Road some years back, so I was hungry, and I knew you couldn't nail me that time. And I told guys, I'm hungry. They said, go to Mr. Street. Now men that got married to two men. I was like, what? They said, that woman that married two husbands. And I said, okay. They directed me the place. I went there, and I saw the husband, the both of them twins, living together in happiness. And they got grown-up kids of, let me say, early 30s, 26 and 29. Now, I'm like, what do you guys call that? I mean, one woman living together, the same roof with two men as husband and wife. That is it. Now, let's keep that apart. Growing up as a young man back in late 90s and early 2000s, yeah, I know I cannot keep one face with her. If I don't have sex with 3-4 girls on a daily basis, I'm not okay, not myself. But I was thinking that I'm on top of the world, not until I met a girl. This girl also, I met her online. She told me you should have sex with 10 men on a daily basis, she's not okay. So this thing of talking about multiple sexual partner is the fact that is general, is everybody.
It's everybody. All right. Thank you very much for your take. Reginald on Twitter is saying we are all free moral agents that have a right to exercise our free will. However, for everything we do, whether right or wrong or good or evil, we should know there are consequences for all our actions.
That's it.
Adams is saying men married multiple women in the Bible because man was at a fallen state after the disobedience at Eden. Before then, it was supposed to be one man cleaving to one woman. Go back and read it. All right. You can send a tweet at Lagos Talks 913. Please use the hashtag #TheDishLagos. What we're talking about today is there really a difference between men having multiple sexual partners and women having multiple sexual partners? If there's a difference to you, what is the difference and why is there a difference? Would like for you to let us know. Lagos Talks, good afternoon. Who's speaking? Please turn off your radio.
Good afternoon, Ify, and everybody in the studio.
Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
What's your name?
My name is Benga. I'm calling from Ogudu this afternoon.
All right, Benga, quickly, let's get your take, please.
Yeah, first of all, I don't believe in hell, but I think it is a lie from the pit of hell to suggest that it's in a man's nature to be polygamous. It is not. Being monogamous or polygamous is a choice. It's not a nature. That's number one. Then number two, I think this argument is an argument women often push. To see maybe we can nudge women to a point where they will tolerate and be comfortable with us having multiple sex partners while they still stay with us. Because, like, they say when you push a lie for a very long time, some people might start to believe it's the truth. So I think it's just a scam. It's a lie we tell women because we want them to tolerate our excesses when it comes to multiple sex partners. There is no truth in it.
All right. Thank you very much. Lagos Talks 0809 234 5913 0809 222 0913 0809 191 3913. If you want to send a WhatsApp message, please send it to 0809 234 5913. This is coming from Emmanuel saying, if I talk now, you ladies will come for me, lol. In as much as it takes two to tango, the fact that one gender has the possibility of taking souvenir, that's a baby, after the doings, makes it more makes it more unheard of for women to have multiple sex partners. Besides, before a woman will open her legs for a guy, she's already catching feelings. But for most guys, they can do without any iota of feelings for the lady. If you ladies will hit me, let it not be below the belt, please. Okay. This is coming
So he's
from
got souvenirs.
a listener saying, you say men say they are naturally monogamous. You never meet this generation girls. Don't worry, in a gradual process. All these girls, we know they send anybody again. Even the men are coming to terms with the fact that anybody, both men and women, can be monogamous. Justin is saying, hello ladies, the idea that men cannot be monogamous is complete BS. It's just a lie that we tell ourselves to justify cheating. I'll tell you ladies a funny short story. I have a friend who's married and believes it's not possible for him to stay faithful. He cheats a lot. I mean a lot. So for the past 1 year, his fiancée has been tight due to a huge project we are currently working on. No extra funds to play around. Surprisingly, he's been faithful for almost a year now. Oh, because he doesn't have the money. Because cheating is expensive as well.
Of course it is.
Olushe is saying, good afternoon, beautiful ladies of the dish. You see, when people say men are polygamous in nature, I don't like hearing it. So you mean, humans are insatiable in nature. Sexual urges or libido is not only for one gender. Some women have high libido than men. So it's just the patriarchy thing coming from generation to generation. Men have always married multiple women, and those men were not stupid, nor foolish, nor dumb. But please, we're just trying to get you to explain to us the reason why it was necessary. We're not really saying they're stupid or they're dumb, but is it based on their nature? Or it was based on their choice. This is from Jaja saying, I pray to God not to ever be in a relationship with a cheat. I put God in this because there's no way you can be absolutely sure that your partner is not cheating. Lagos Talks, good afternoon. All right, we've lost that one. Keep your calls coming through very quickly. Lagos Talks, good afternoon. Who's speaking?
Good afternoon, Messi. Good afternoon, Ayana. Good afternoon, everybody. I've been trying to get through, but thank God I'm here.
All right, let's hear you very quickly.
Yes, so many insight to this thing. First, Ugoma pointed consent. When we talk of partner is decision. You come together to decide to marry, to be one. Then I will take it from the part. Abraham, God said, I know that you teach your children to do what is right and wrong. Then again, we are human beings, just like someone talking about animals. We are still more agents in the sense that we practice modesty. You get? Yeah, this in Bible also says every man is own. You get? So I was on this Instagram program chat, multiple says, partner. But before you do that, you go more important to something else that you got to let your partner know that you are doing this. Not that at the end of the day, you are killing yourself for what's not. But God has seen all this. He said, I've given you right and wrong. Choose right. So whatever thing you're doing, just want pointed consequences. You get? So there's consequences for everything. But then again, I want to point out that the guy that practiced in English, the environment is another thing. When you train a child in an environment that they practice anything, do anyhow, this thing will be rampant. You get? So that's why God was I will also go to the religious part of the view that Israel, they have to do what God wanted to do, laws and everything. But at the end of the day, do what works for you. Look at the consequences, the effects, and again the consequences that about to say. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you very much, guys. It's 3 minutes past 3. We need to wrap this up right here, right now. Thank you so much, ladies, for being a part of this. Really, what we've been able to just pretty much elucidate is the fact that this mentality that comes with women having multiple sexual partners is something of a taboo, and it's much different from men having multiple sexual partners. It's all based on patriarchy and their systems that constantly encourage and fasten the reins of patriarchy in society. It could be systems like culture, even religion as well. And so it is a lie to say that there is any difference really if you've decided as a grown adult that you want to, hit it and quit it with different people at different times. I will not call you a farm implement. It's just based on your choice. So let's not make it a difference because if we're saying that there's a difference, it just means that we're saying it because, and if I'm saying we, I'm talking based on the male thinking, that if you're saying that there's a difference, it's either because you are trying to justify the fact that you have been allowed all these years. And I say you have been allowed because it's a mindset that has been passed from generation to generation, which is a lie, but it's been accepted that it is a man thing or it's a natural thing for men to be promiscuous or to have multiple sexual partners because it's natural. I always say, based on one of the best series to ever be made, which is Gossip Girl. They said the difference between man and beast is man's ability to not act on man's every thought. Men are not animals. And sometimes I believe that we hold men to too little a standard when we think, well, it's a natural thing for men to be promiscuous. That's a lie. Now, just talking about the fact that it doesn't really affect people, and the fact that when people have multiple sexual partners, they could do it without emotional ties or whatever, even based on a psychological research, whenever you are sexually active, first of all, your limbic system is a system that is responsible for your emotions, for your arousal, and for your memories. Every time that you are engaged in any sexual activity, your limbic system lights up, and there are neurochemical changes that encourage limbic bonding between both parties. Hence the reason why there's so many, and I say this with a pinch of salt, messed up people out there, because you're moving from I was gonna say something else, but thankfully I didn't say this. You're moving from person to person. You don't know where these people are coming from. You don't know how many sexual partners these people have had, and you're having sex with these different people, and you would have to part with them immediately or at some point. Just ripping off that attachment that you created through the limbic bonding through your sexual activity. It will affect you mentally. And on this note, and at this juncture, I would just enjoin you to probably go read up more about the connection between mental health issues and having multiple sexual partners as well, so you know that it affects you psychologically. And I believe that it's a lie when people say, oh, nothing really happens if you're having sex with random people, it's just fun. It's not really that. But guys, we're going to leave it here today. Thank you so much to everyone who was a part of this. Ayana, Ugoma, Kel, before saying goodbye, any words?
I think my last word would be, if you decide to cheat, just so you know that you're doing it, just so you know that you're doing it because you've made that decision. It's not about
It's not your
DNA,
nature.
your
It's not your
habit.
nature.
It's
Stop
not.
lying. You're not an
I like that.
animal.
It's not because you have decided to cheat.
I'm going to put that as a
And
status.
that's
It's
just
based
the
on
only
your
thing, and
choice.
we shouldn't give excuses for that. I mean, if you have said that, oh, I'm going to be faithful to one person, then you have to live up to that, commitment. For you to invalidate that, that means you have invalidated the relationship.
Exactly. I like that. Very well said. Thank you so much, ladies. And to everyone who was a part of this, we appreciate you. You can reach out to me on Instagram and on Twitter at Ify_I. That's IFY_I. If you have missed out on any episode of our Hot Topics segment, please go check it out on YouTube. Lagos Talks 913. Please, when you get to our YouTube channel, ensure that you subscribe, you watch our videos, you like our videos, because I know that they're very interesting and exciting and very informative videos as well. And not only that, comment, the conversation goes on. So please ensure that you comment and share it with people as well. Thank you so much once again. Follow Lagos Talks across all social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Lagos Talks 913. The midday show with me, Ifunanya, isn't over yet, but we do appreciate you for being a part of the dish. Stick around.